Hello everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage. I'm Leslie Watkins and today is Paper Crafting Saturday. Happy first day of spring, so I hope you're having a lovely day. It's really pretty here. And I have to say I'm a little distracted. I've got a lot of stuff going on. So I have a wonderful watercolor class coming up this afternoon that I'm very excited about. And if you're one of the attendees, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you. I have people from around the world, and it's amazing because to think back a year ago, just about to the date, I decided because of the pandemic to take my teaching and my paper crafting and my artwork online. And I've been working pretty hard at it for about a year, and it's starting to happen. And a year ago I just dreamt how great would it be to be able to have students from around the world, not just folks in my town or nearby. And that's actually happened. So I'm very grateful for that. And I'm also super excited about it. So that's one thing that I've got coming up today. I've also been working on my taxes, which are always an arduous kind of a task, but even more so this year because I'm using new software and there's a learning curve, and I'm keep running into hitches. So I'm almost in the home stretch now. I think I will have my taxes ready to go on Monday, so fingers crossed. And just being that spring, the changing of the seasons. So this morning I was sleeping, and I was awakened by thumping outside my window, and it was the squirrels. And I've been putting the bird feeders and the seeds and stuff away because the bears are out and about. And where I live, you don't want to attract bears to your house because they can just wreck stuff. So I'm very careful about leaving things around. And so the squirrels are going kind of bonkers. And that's sort of, you've heard the expression squirrel mind. Well, that's kind of what I'm like today with all these different things going on, where you get easily distracted and you see a squirrel and you're like, squirrel. So I am quite literally squirrel mind today, and so I am going to be sharing with you a special card that features squirrels and all the other little critters that are out and about and are just distracting me and getting ready for spring. And it's all I can think about right now is squirrel. So let's get started. So here's the little squirrel that I'm going to be using today. And this is from a set called Special Someone. And it does have dies to match, which is really nice. And then there are also these other cute critters. I've got another set called Field Journal, and this one has a chipmunk, and I love chipmunks, and I really like this kind of a, looks like an ivy sprig. I'm not sure what that is. I should look that up, but it's very pretty. And I have this set called Enjoy the Moment that has all of these nuts and seeds that I know that the squirrels enjoy. So I'm going to be using bits and pieces from these three sets. Now, you could use any stamp set you have. You don't need to use these. I'm going to show you the basics for a very fun diagonal easel fold card. So let me just check my settings, make sure that we're online. Okay, so I'm getting out my trimmer, and I'm going to be working with mainly neutral colors today. And right now this card is only an idea. I haven't actually made it yet, so we're going to be creating it together. But I'm going to show you how you can take a very basic neutral card and dress it up and make it fancy. So I'm going to start by scoring my paper at 5.5. And this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. And then I'm going to cut it down at 4.25 for a basic card size. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the fold line in the track and this other point down below. And I'm just going to make sure that's in place. And now using my score blade, which is the lighter one, I'm just going to score a diagonal. Okay, so that gives me a fold that looks like that. All right, so that's the basis of this easel fold card. So I'm going to give that a good burnish. If you're interested in any of these products, the paper trimmer, the bone folder, the snips, these are what I call essential paper crafting tools. They're great to have. They will make your projects come out so much more professional, and you will be able to go to my online store. I'll provide a link below so that you can easily get those things. And also the papers and the stamp sets I'll be using today as well. So the next thing I want to do, that's going to be my card base. And I next want to do some stamping. So I'm going to be using some scraps, and I just keep my scraps in a job envelope with my paper to keep it all together. So I have all my colors in one spot. And I'm going to grab some soft suede ink. I'm going to get my little squirrel friend. And since I'm going to be designing this as I go along, I'm just going to do it step by step. I may have to go back and add a few other elements as needed. But I know I definitely want this little guy. So there he is. And I have, this is my, what is it called? The Stampin' Chalk marker. And I'll zoom you in a little so you can see this better. So there he is. And I'm also going to get one of my sponge daubers. Let me see if I can find one. I've got some crumb cake ink, and I'm just going to tap that in the ink pad, and I'm just going to give that a little bit of a tone on his tail and his head. Just like that. And then I'm going to take my chalk marker and I'm going to put a little bit of a light tone on his muzzle and his chest and his belly. Okay, so there, there he is. There you go. Now you can see him. So that's pretty cute. And now all I'm going to do is zoom you back out again. It just takes a minute to do this. I think you could see how if you wanted to make any number of these things, you could knock them out pretty quickly. Now I'm going to take my cut and emboss machine and put him right in there and get my matching die. Get that lined up. I have a magnetic plate on here, so sometimes these jump around a little bit, so you have to move it. That looks pretty good. Trying to make sure I've got his ears. And there we go. There's our cute little squirrel. Now, I like to finish the edges. So I'm going to go back again with my ink pad, and I'm just going to give that a little bit of a darker tone. Okay, there we go. So there's our squirrel. Now I'm also going to need a sentiment, and for that I'm going to be using this thank you in Special Someone. And using the crumb cake again, I'm just going to get that kind of centered on there. And I want to give that a little bit of a border. So for a border, I'm going to be using pieces of this ivy. So this is a set I haven't used yet, and I really love this set. This speaks to me as a nature lover. I love the imagery on this, and this is something I'm going to be using quite a bit in my nature journals. And if you're, by the way, if you're interested in learning how to make your own nature journal, next month I'm going to have a workshop on and how you can make your own nature journal from scratch. And if that's something that sounds interesting to you, please go to my website and subscribe to my newsletter, which is called Notes from Dandelion Cottage. And that comes out on the 1st of the month, and we'll have all of the class and workshop listings. Right, I'm going to need my scratch pad for this. And again, I'm using the crumb cake ink. And I'm just going to make a little design around my thank you. Okay, just like that. And I'm wondering if maybe I could get a little bit, I'm not sure if I need to go this far, but I'll just add a little bit like that. All right, so that gives me something that looks like this. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm using the Timeless Label Punch. Just going to slip that in there. Punch out my thank you. And I've got that beautiful little leafy border. Now again, I'm going to give that a little bit of tonality with my sponge dauber, so I can get that right on the leaves. And all around the edge. There we go. And I can go back to my chalk marker and I can just pick out a couple of little highlights here and there. There we go. All right, now I need to make this stronger. So as it is, it's not thick enough to do the job I want it to do. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to punch out 2 more, just the same. And then I'm going to laminate these things together to give them some extra strength. Okay, so now that's getting close to the thickness of a piece of cardboard, and that's going to stand up to plenty of movement and abuse. So I'm just going to give that a good burnish. Make sure it's all lined up, and then again I'm just going to sponge around the edges so that it all comes together nicely. All right, so there is my stopper. Very cute, very sturdy. Now let's see what else I need here. I'd like to add a little bit of texture to the card. And I'm thinking about, let me see what I've got here. Okay. This'll work. So I've got a couple of folders here, but I think what I want to do is this one. So this is the Tasteful Textile, because I want a kind of a, zoom you out a little bit. I want a kind of a soft kind of texture in the background, just something that looks very natural. So I think we'll use that one. Let me just get cleaned up a little bit here. Just gonna actually, this one I think we're going to use again, so I'll leave that out. All right, so what I want is something that's going to be a background here. And I'm going to start with crumb cake again. So I'm going to cut this down to, let's see, what do I want this to be? 5 1/4 by 4. And then I'm going to stamp on here and make a little background. So I'm going to do some tone-on-tone stamping. Let's see, what do I want this to be? 5 1/4. Oh, I see Ginger, Deirdre, Danette, Jackie. Thank you so much for joining me today. Are you seeing signs of spring where you live? It's really beginning to feel like spring around here, mainly because of the birds. All right, so I'm going to take this vine design again, and let me think. Well, I don't know how big this is going to. Oh, I know what I'll do. I've got it. All right, so I'm going to add some foliage to my background. And I'm going to put a mask here. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. And one more. I'll have this coming in this way. There we go. Okay, so I've got this sort of a foliage background working now. And again, I'm going to grab my sponge dauber and put a little bit of a tone on those leaves. So just very lightly. I'm not rubbing this as hard as I could. Okay, so just a little bit of a tone. I don't want this to be the center of attention. I just want this as a background. There we go. And again, with the white, just picking up a little bit of highlight here and there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Ginger, I totally get the squirrel mind. I am so squirrel today. It's just a lot of stuff happening. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to be this piece is going to be attached to here, and it's going to rise up like this. And this section of it is going to be standing proud of the card. So what I want to do is I want to come in and I want to do a little bit of fussy cutting here so that it's in a regular shape. Sorry, am I off camera? Let me move in a little bit closer so you can see. Okay. And I want this to be nice because this edge will be noticeable when the card is on display. Okay, and then let's see. Okay. I may have to do a little bit more stamping up in this corner, so let me see how this works. All right, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I'm going to put this back in here, like so. And then I'm just going to give myself a guideline. So I think you can see that I now have the exact line that's going to correspond with this. So I can use that. All right, let's see how this looks. I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to do a little more cutting. So again, I'm just going to put this back in here, just like so. And just make this a little bit deeper. Okay, I think that's going to do it for me. Alright, so I'm left with a configuration that looks something like this. And that's going to enable my card to open up like so and give me that fun little cutout section. Just going to round off a couple of these points so that they don't catch on anything. Alright. And then finally, for this piece, I'm going to add a little more sponging. And I'm going to do this very gently. I'm holding this so I don't bend it. Just going around those edges to give them a little more of a finished look. Where's my tweezers? There we go. I keep these tweezers handy. They're very useful for those times when you just can't grab something tiny. Okay, very good. I'm happy with that. Now let's put that down. And I only want to get glue on this section. So I'm just going to do that. Make sure I get that on there straight. Okay. My stopper is going to go here. And my little squirrel is going to be located over in this corner. And now I have to make a decision as to how many other elements do I want. So I know I want to put some of these seeds. So I've got these little seed stamps in here, so I'm just going to scatter a few of those around the bottom. And I'm using the soft suede for this. I'll just put them randomly around the bottom like so. That'll keep him busy for a while. Okay. Let's get a look at that. All right, so I'm really happy with that. It looks really cute, and I know you can't see it very well just yet, but you will. Just be patient because I'm going to do something very special now. Just clear this area away. I don't want, this stamp is so tiny, I don't want to lose it, so I'm putting it away right away. Okay, so now, this is cute, but I want this to have something really special. And so I have, oh, I forgot my texture. Oops, hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to go back to my soft suede. And I'm going to cut this down to 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm getting out my 3D embossing folder, which looks just like this, but before I put it in there, I'm just going to give this paper a little bit of a spritz with plain water. And I'm doing that on both sides. I'll slip that into the folder like so. And I'm going to go get my emboss machine again. And this time I'm going to be using plate number 1 and plate number 4. And I'm putting this through with the hinge edge first. And there's my textured cardstock, but I want to do a little bit more to this. So this time I'm using a 1/4 piece of a Stampin' Sponge. And again, with my oh, actually, not this one. I want the soft suede ink. And I'm just, so what I'm doing is I'm applying more pressure around the edges and a little bit less pressure in the center. I just want to pick up the top bits of those raised pieces, and then I'll go around and get the sides. And I'm going to rough up the edges with my scissors. So just open up your snips. These are very sharp, and just distress the edge so it looks a little more natural and not so cut out. And if it tears a little bit here and there, that's okay. Don't worry about that. That's just fine. All right. So now I've got something that gives me this beautiful added texture. And this I'm going to put on the inside of the card, just like that. So I'm going to glue that down. There we go. Okay, so now let me show you what that looks like. So now it looks like we've got a little bit more of a kind of a earthy ground plane here, which I like very much. And then this is going to go here as my sentiment. But now I'll show you the special thing. So I have here the Forever Gold Specialty Designer Series paper. And I am a big fan of adding bling, gold, and all sorts of other bits to these neutral cards. So in our color collection, we have the neutrals, which includes the crumb cake, the soft suede, the early espresso, and it goes very nicely with the very vanilla. And there's a bunch of others, which enables you to have a whole range of different values, shades of light to dark, which you can do a lot of fun things. You know, like highlighting some of these leaves, and I could also go back in with a marker if I wanted, and just add some darker colors as well. So there's a whole world of things that you can do with these. So in this set of this designer series paper, you get these beautiful filigree overlays. Okay, so there are these complete card-sized pieces, but you also get these leafy shapes. Okay, so you get, let's see, how many are in here? 1, 2, 3, you get 3 of each. So I want to use some of the ones that are here. So I'm going to grab this one. And this one. These are so delicate. And these are just so beautiful. Wait till you see this one. If I can get it out without tearing it. Oh my goodness, this is so fine. Here we go. How beautiful that is. All right, I think that might be enough. I'm going to grab these little berries too, just in case. I'm not sure if I'll need them, but as they say, I'd rather be looking at them than looking for them. So let me just get those ready. Oh my goodness, I should have done this before I started videoing. There we go. All right. I'm very carefully going to put all these back so I don't bend any of them. Oops, I'm stuck. There we go. Oh, I guess this flips over. All right. All right, I think I will use these berries. So I'm just going to take a little bit of glue and dot that on my berry shapes. And a little bit on the stem. There we go. I'm going to take this one and, okay, I'll leave it together. Again, I'm just going to dot the glue around. And if you're careful with this multi-purpose liquid glue, which I love, if you go very slowly and carefully, you can get these very tiny, little precise bits of glue. And I'm hardly even squeezing it. And you might want to practice a little bit to get the hang of it. But and I admit there is a learning curve with the glue. It can get away from you in the beginning, but like anything else, just keep at it. It will get easier and you will start to have much better results. And of course this kind of a extremely fine thing may not be the best thing for you to begin with, but it can be done. And I'm going to take my tweezers and grab this so I can get that right where I want it. There we go. All right, and then let me take a look. Okay, I'm going to take this shorter one It's going to go up here, like so. And then this last piece, I'm just picking up some of that glue with the nozzle. I'm not squeezing, I'm picking it up and moving it to the opposite leaf. And then this is going to go right along there. Now I'm going to get my dimensionals. Actually, let me give that a little bit of a burnish before we go any further. There we go. Now I'm going to take my little squirrel guy. I'm going to pop him up on 2 dimensionals, just like that. And I'm just sort of bending him a little bit to give him a little bit of a dimension. And I'm going to put him right there. All right. And then my stopper, I'm going to put 4 dimensionals on this because this is what's going to hold the card open. So I want that to be nice and strong. Let me get that where I want it. And then I'm just going to line that up with the edge of the card. Actually, I'm going to move it over a little bit. Oops. There we go. Now, I'm not done. We need more bling. So I'm going to get out the bling box. This is my bling box. And in here I've got all sorts of embellishments. And these are the champagne rhinestones, and I quite like that, but I want to see what those gilded gems look like. If I have some, here they are, gilded gems. All right, so it's between those 2. Let's see. Actually, these wouldn't be bad either. The metallic pearls. I think I'm going to experiment. I'm going to try a mixture of all of them. I'm going to take a great big gilded gem, and I'm going to give that to the squirrel to hold. So there's his special big nut there. And then I'm going to scatter some different sized ones around. So I'll just do 3 of these. And I'll do 3 of the metallic pearls. So this will just look like all the wonderful seeds that they have out in the bird feeding section. And then finally, the champagne rhinestones. And what I like so much about the champagne rhinestones is the way they reflect the light differently from the gold that's in the foliage. So it just makes it look that much more magical. I think I'll add another one, a little one, right over here. Okay. So that's my squirrely card for today. Let me give you a close-up. So that's what he looks like. All right, and you can see all of the wonderful treasures that he has there at his feet. And then it can be displayed just like that. So it looks very fancy, but it's really super easy to make when you think about the basic structure of it. You're just taking your regular note card the way you always do that hinges on the top, and this time just adding a vertical score line to make that easel shape. And then, you know, just let your imagination go wild with your background. This is a squirrel. It could be the butterflies, flowers, whatever, you name it. And if you do something like this, I would love to see it. So please share that with me so I can see what you do. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy this beautiful beginning of spring. Let me see if I can get this so you can see it somehow a little bit. And stay well, stay happy, and stay creative. And I will see you next time on Marvelous Monday.